I feel greatly honored and privileged to be with this community on this Martin Luther King Celebration Day in 2015, the 200th year of the existence of Allegheny College. I'm very pleased and grateful to be here also because, as was mentioned, Allegheny College is one of those schools in the United States without whose dedication to end injustice everywhere and your support for our struggles in South Africa by doing the right thing in supporting our pressures on the South African government through your divestment in those days. That was a more important decision than you might have realized at the time, President Manu. It was before your time, but it stood in the tradition of this college that you, in your person and in your work, are dedicated to uphold. Without the external pressure in those different ways, South Africa would not have come to the end of apartheid as soon as we did. And without that external pressure, the forces for non-violent change in my country would have been significantly weakened. And without your support, we would not have been able to make that vital decision in the early 1990s to turn our back on continued conflict and bloodshed in my country and to seek rather a way of reconciliation and justice for all our people. And so I am deeply grateful. And since this is my first time at Allegheny College, it would be nice to say to Archbishop Desmond Tutu, I know our college that actually did this thing that we asked them to do without I having been present there. I know of colleges and wonderful, famous universities where we did go and where we had all the support of the students, but they never got to this kind of support for our struggle. So you can imagine that Allegheny will always have a special place, and I can assure you I'm not kidding, in the hearts of South Africa's people who had struggled through all of those difficult years. And so this is my first time here, so let me thank you for what you have done in those days. Let me thank you for your dedication. Let me thank you for your support. Let me thank you for the way in which you upheld us in some of the darkest moments of our lives and our struggle. And so why don't you join me in thanking your predecessors for that wonderful act of solidarity. The Martin Luther King we learn to love and we embrace is the Martin King who taught us to stand up for justice no matter what the cost. If a man does not have something to die for, he is not fit to live, he said. The Martin who taught us to take sides courageously and uncompromisingly. On some positions, he said, cowardice asks the question, is it expedient? And then expedient comes along and asks the question, is it politic? Vanity comes along and asks the question, is it popular? Conscience comes along and asks the question, is it right? The Martin King we embrace is the Martin who taught us to love. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Hate multiplies, hate violence multiplies, violence, toughness multiplies, toughness in a descending spiral of destruction. The chain of evil must be broken, or we shall be plunged into the dark abyss of annihilation. The Martin King we embrace is the Martin who taught us that justice is indivisible. Just injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. The Martin we embrace It's the Martin who taught the world that hope is everything. God grant, he said, that we will be participants in the newness that God is creating. If we will but do it, we will bring about a new day of brotherhood and peace, and that day the morning stars will sing together, and the children of God will shout for joy. That Martin, the one we embraced, was indisputably American. He was one of you. He was part of you. He was born of you. He came from among you. That Martin was a child of God who gave himself to the world, and in giving his life in selfless service and in death for the sake of justice, he has made all of us his spiritual children. From the children of Soweto to the children of Ferguson to the children of the Arab Spring. No matter what the situation is today, somewhere within us Martin King lives. No matter what the situation is today, somewhere within us he still cries out for justice. No matter what our situation is, somewhere within us he has kept alive the vision of the mountaintop we are still straining to reach. No matter what the situation is for us today, somewhere within us is his love embedded for Christ and for the world and for all of God's children. No matter where we are today, somewhere within us, Martin King is wrestling to break the chains we have used to shackle him. All we have to do is to set him free. And on this Martin King Day, the challenge is, will the people of Allegheny College be willing to reach down into themselves and to recapture the Martin that was, and the Martin that lived, and the Martin that led, and the Martin that died, and the Martin that left this incredible legacy for all of us. And will those children of Martin stand up today for what is true, and for what is justice, and for what is right, and for what is hopeful, so that the world may once again hear his voice and believe and follow. Thank you. God bless you.